Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting week of music theory. This week, we're going to be looking over lessons 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3. So we're going over clefs, reading music, and then treble clef note names. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at 2.1 clefs. So the first thing we're going to have here is the two terms staff and staves. So the staff is our set of 5 lines and 4 spaces. That's kind of our musical graph paper that we write our music on. Staves is the plural of staff. So don't say staves, say staves, okay? And those, again, are the horizontal lines upon which music is written. The top staff of the following, this diagram right here, tells us, contains the treble clef. This clef tells you that the notes after it will be higher notes. And then it is also called the G clef because the curve in the middle of the clef is around the second line up, which is where the note G is located. Sopranos and altos sing pitches notated by the treble clef, and music for tenors is typically written in the treble clef as well. However, the pitches that the tenors actually sing are an octave or 8 notes below where they're actually written. And for tenors, typically that treble clef includes a little 8 right here that's attached to the treble clef that tells you that it is 8 notes below where it is written. Okay, so the treble clef, you're going to copy that a couple times right here. I like to, when I draw the treble clef, I like to draw a little dot and then do like a little fish hook that goes right above the staff. Then I do a little curly Q or a half heart right there, wrap it around, and then I do a curly Q around that second line. And again, it's called the G clef. That wasn't super clear. Let me zoom in just a little bit. The G clef because it centers around this pitch, which is G. So take a minute to just copy in that treble clef a couple of times on the staff. Again, the staff is our set of 5 lines and 4 spaces, and copy that as best as you can. Now, looking here, the bass clef, the other clef that you see. It notates low pitches and is also called the F clef because it centers around this note right here, which is F. So that is the 4th line from the bottom. And typically we draw a dot right there. We do a half heart, and then the other 2 dots circle around that line. And that line again is F. So baritones and basses sing pitches notated on the bass clef, and sometimes tenors will also be on the bass clef as well, depending on the piece of music that we're looking at. So go ahead and copy that bass clef a couple times. Again, I like to start with a dot, draw a half heart, and then come back and draw the other 2 dots, just like that. So draw that a couple times on the staff. Just make sure, excuse me, that all those dots end up focusing around F. So below is the grand staff right here, and it always has 2 lines of music and usually uses a treble clef and a bass clef. Piano music is written on the grand staff. The top line contains notes to be played by the right hand, the higher pitches, while the bottom line contains notes to be played by the left hand for the lower pitches. The 2 staves are always joined by a bracket on the left side, and the bar lines are written all the way from the top of the staff to the bottom. In piano music, they are not broken between staves as above. In choral music, they are broken between staves to leave space for lyrics, okay? So typically you would have, I'm just randomly thinking of a song. So Silent Night, Holy Night would be written in there. So we don't have the bar lines going through in choral music, okay? So again, grand staff, treble clef right here, bass clef right here, joined together with a bracket, okay? Next up, reading music. Each note on the staff represents a different pitch. So every line and space represents a specific pitch. So here are some basics of music reading. As the notes ascend or go up on the staff, they're higher or they raise in pitch. As they descend or go down on the staff, they lower in pitch. So in exercise 1A, circle the higher pitch in each measure. So this one is lower than this one, so that's the higher pitch. That one's the higher pitch. That one is higher, and that one is higher. And then circle the lower pitch, which is lower on the staff, which is right there. Notes are classified either as line notes or space notes. Line notes have a line of the staff going through them, and space notes are in the spaces. So if we look here, this is a space note, and this is why it's important to write very legibly whenever you're writing music, is if you draw your note head too big like that, it's impossible to know which note that is. So we always get kind of picky whether it is on the line or if it's on the line, it goes right through the middle of what's called the note head, like that. And if it's on the space, we want to make sure that it's right between those two lines. Okay, so you can do the same with space notes there. So there are 7 notes in the musical alphabet. We talk about this a lot in class. They're A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And then once we get to G, we start back over at A. So the higher you go, you start on A, and if you continue going higher, it goes up the alphabet. But if you start high, like on G, and the pitch goes down, then you go reverse in the alphabet, like this. So we have A, B, this would be C, D, E. Now we're going to go back down in pitch, so that's going to go reverse in the alphabet. So E, D, C, B, A, G, F. We're going up again, G, A, B, C, D, okay? So whenever we have the treble clef, our lines and spaces are given a certain letter name so that we can identify them. So the first thing you're gonna do here in number 1 is write whether it's a line or space note. I'm not gonna make you do this right now, but just be able to identify whether it's a line or a space note. Now, there's an easy way that we remember the note names for the lines of the treble clef. We have a little saying. The saying goes, every good boy does fine. And you can see that on the page. And that's because the bottom note of the treble clef staff is an E, then a G, B, D, F. So we have this little saying, every good boy does fine. So that little saying will help you identify the lines of the treble clef. So here we've got F, because it's every good boy does fine. Here we have every good, so that's a G. Every good boy. Every, so that's just an E. Every good boy does. Every good. Now this is just an easy way to identify these notes. You can also just memorize that this note is G right here, and then you can just use your musical alphabet and go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like we did on the previous page. But this little trick can help you identify them a little bit faster, okay? So I'm not going to make you complete the rest of those on your own because it's only 5 notes and we've already went through all of them. But let's take a look at the spaces now. So the spaces, if we have every good boy does fine, we're going to fill in the blanks. So every, so this is going to be an F, good, that's going to be an A, boy, C, D for does, E, right? So that actually spells out a word, F-A-C-E. So face in the space, okay? And this again allows you to just have a quick and easy way to remember those spaces. So if that's F, that's A, that's F, F-A-C, F-A, F-A-C-E. So it's just a quick trick on how to remember your treble clef note names. We'll talk about the bass clef more in the future, but again, there are 2 different methods that you can use. We can either start on G or A. We know that the treble clef is known as the G clef, and you can work your way up the alphabet. Or if it's in the staff, you can use every good boy does fine or F-A-C-E.